Welcome back, everybody. This is going to be a fun episode. I want to talk to you guys about a $1 billion dinner I had on a yacht. Check this out.
Welcome to Funnel Hacker Radio Podcast, where we go behind the scenes and uncover the tactics and strategies top entrepreneurs are using to make more sales, dominate their markets, and how you can get those same results. Here's your host, Dave Woodward.
That's right. It was the craziest day I'd had in a long time. And this was what we ended up, I was down at Traffic and Conversion. Some good buddies of mine ended up pulling together this dinner yacht cruise that had the largest group of people with the highest value net worth all together on one boat I think I've ever been on in a long time, if ever. So what happened here, some backstory, is two good buddies of mine, Pete Vargas and Keith Yachey, who I've known for years. Last year when we were at TNC, invited me to go out on one night. Basically, a couple of buddies all got together, chipped in, and we just did a fun little yacht cruise around San Diego Harbor. And last year was a ton of fun. There was probably, 20 of us on the yacht just driving around. And again, it was just for networking, just for fun. It was towards the end of TNC. It just had a great time. Met some additional people I hadn't known before. Just kind of developed a lot of real good friendships. Well, this year, Keith reached out to me and Pete and said, "Hey, Dave, we're going to do this yacht cruise again this year. Do you want to go?" And I'm like, "Yeah, of course. I had a great time last year. That sounds fantastic." I said, "All right, perfect. Make sure you're on time and all that kind of stuff." I said, "Yeah, no problem, guys. Not a big deal." So then all of a sudden, I start walking around TNC and I start hearing other people talking about this dinner yacht or this yacht they're going on. I'm like, "Are you going on Keith and Pete's yacht thing?" Yeah, I'm going. And you're going too? I'm like, so I reached out to Keith. I'm like, "Keith, how big is this boat?" Because last year it wasn't that big. He says, "Oh, we got a little bit bigger boat than we had last year." I'm like, "Okay, no big deal." So right before I'm supposed to show up to it, I went down to the docks, and all of a sudden I look behind, and this line begins forming. I'm like, what is going on? I know how big the boat was last year. There's no way in the world this is going to work. I didn't know if Keith had a boat and Pete had a boat or what was going to happen. And then all of a sudden, Keith and Pete come walking around the corner. I'm like, "Guys, what's going on?" He goes, "Dave, you're going to love this. Check this out." And so I walked down with him before everyone else kind of got on the boat. He says, "Check out that boat." And at the end of the pier was this double-story, actually a three-story dinner yacht cruise. And they basically put together. And I'm like, "You guys have got to be kidding me." He goes, "Yeah, we invited 100 people on the boat for dinner." I'm like, "Oh my gosh, you guys, that's insane. There's no way in the world." And then all of a sudden I turn around and I go back to see who's basically coming on the boat. And these are all some of the people I've known for years and some of the people who I've been dying to get to know. And they literally are like the who's who of online as well as offline marketing. Just great people. People who literally product-wise have sold hundreds of millions of products, some into the billions. And it literally became a $1 billion yacht dinner cruise. And as fun as it was, what I really want to make sure you guys understand is all the cool things that happened all because of this. So, first of all, we get on the yacht, we're having dinner, and while we're sitting there before dinner, everyone's just kind of networking, drinks and everything else. Then we go down to have dinner, and I'm sitting down at one of the head tables at the back of the boat, basically, and Keith comes over and goes, "So what do you think?" I'm like, "I think this is fantastic. You guys did an amazing job." He goes, "So we're going to basically take some time here and have people just kind of network." I'm like, "I'm really curious to see how you're going to get all these people to network." He goes, "Well, check this out." So he and Pete get up and they basically do this quick little introduction saying, "Listen, guys, 3 years ago, we came to Traffic and Conversion together and we did not know a single soul. It was the first time we'd ever been to a Traffic and Conversion event, and we decided that together, somehow we were going to get to know the very best influencers at this entire event. And we've spent the last 3 years networking like crazy. And this evening, tonight, is the result of our 3-year pursuit to get to know the very best in the industry." And he said, "What we'd like to do tonight is we just want you guys to have fun." And he said, "You know what? In fact, next year we want to invite all of you guys back. And oh, by the way, Dave and ClickFunnels are actually going to be sponsoring next year's event." And I'm like, Pete totally threw me under the bus. Props to him for basically having the huevos to do it in front of 100 of my peers and friends, but it was actually kind of a cool thing. So yes, next year, I talked with Todd and Russell, the rest of the partners, and we'll be sponsoring their fun little dinner yacht cruise. But what I really want to make sure you guys understand is the way that they did it is the magic. And that's the part I want to make sure you guys focus on. It's not the fact that there was these crazy, amazing people on this boat. It's the fact that they went out of their way literally for 3 years to start networking and providing value. And Keith and Pete have provided so much value over the last 3 years to people, whether it's to making introductions to other people. And again, realize no one paid to get on this yacht that night. It was just a free dinner that they had put together to basically celebrate for them what was an amazing experience of really understanding the value of people. And so they spent a whole bunch of time going through that. And then the great thing is, because of the friendships that so many people had had and the value that Keith and Pete had given to these people over all these years, all the egos were left at the door. And all of us kind of became starstruck about the other people who were there going, holy smokes, I can't believe, Pete and Keith, you got everybody on this boat. And the greatest part was, at that dinner, what I ended up doing before the dinner came, I said, listen, there are cards on everyone's table. What I'd like you guys to do is write down a question that you're struggling with in your business or something you want an answer for. And we're going to take the first 20 minutes here and just see if someone in the audience here will be able to answer that question for you. It was amazing. I couldn't even believe it. There was not a question that couldn't be answered, whether it had to do with relationships, with finances, with anything in their business. People were someone would say, hey, does someone have an answer for that question? And 2 or 3 hands would come up, and they would take 2 or 3 minutes real quick and say, this is what I would recommend. This is what I would do. This is what I would do. And the value that could just continue to exude from everybody was just, it set the tone for the whole evening, where all people were doing was sharing. It wasn't a matter, no one was trying to one-up each other. It was because everyone had set up the situation as far as developing true friendships and relationships that had value, and they were all there just to help each other out. So my only reason in bringing this up is I get questions all the time about, well, how do I get to know people? Well, to me, there's really only one way of doing it, and that's through a value exchange. And I really encourage you guys to spend the time to get to know people and to network and to make networking have fun. And if you're not very good at networking, spend the time to just pick a couple people and ask for them to introduce you, so you don't have to be the person going out of your way. One of the things I can tell you that I've seen happen a ton recently, and that is, it's the value of digging your well before you're thirsty. And what I mean by that is, you've got to go out of your way to provide enough value to people that when you need to call on a favor, it's like a bank deposit. You literally have to have more money in your bank than you can take out. And you also always need to make sure you leave a reserve there. You never want to be in a situation to where your relationship is bankrupt. And the reason I tell you that is, you've got to make sure you're always giving and giving and giving and giving. That giving comes through so many different ways. Sometimes it's through an introduction to somebody else. Others, it's just by being yourself and providing value when you talk to people and see people, going out of your way to help and lift other people. The value that gets created through that is crazy, crazy cool. Again, huge props to Pete Vargas and Keith Yachey for an amazing evening. They went out of their way, and I think the greatest part actually was just to see what they were able to do in 3 years by providing massive value to so many others. So I'd encourage you guys to go out and do the same. Provide value to as many people as you possibly can. Russ and I were joking around about it earlier today, as far as the whole idea here is, even through a lot of the content that you create, the value that gets out there, that value, whether it's through a podcast, whether it's through a Facebook Live, no matter what it is, that value gets sent out and people use it in their life. And you'll find that by doing those types of things, and Russell's actually going to have one of his presentations at Funnel Hacking Live is going to be about this topic, about how to actually use content in a way that's systematic, creating massive value that actually not only helps drive traffic, but helps you build your business as well. So if you're going to Funnel Hacking Live, by all means, check that out. If you're not, find someone who went and get their notes. But bottom line is, it's all about a value exchange. Props to Keith and Pete. And again, I wish you guys all the best in your business. And remember, you're just one funnel away. You know, one of the things that means a ton to me is the personal reviews that you guys leave on iTunes. If you wouldn't mind going out, rate the show. Let me know how I'm doing. Just go to iTunes, click on the episode and rate it. Leave a comment. I read all the comments. I appreciate all the stars and everything everyone already left for me. Again, I really appreciate it. And it's my way of finding out how I'm doing. So if you don't mind, I'd really appreciate it. And I again, thank you so much for all that you guys do. Have a great day.